Hey, good morning, Hawks. Today on Tech Hawk, we're going to be talking about fake news. So, fake news, what is it? We used to have news. I know it's hard to believe, but back when I was growing up, we had news. We always took it to be honest and factual, and the reality is it probably wasn't. However, after 2016 election, Donald Trump really made it super clear that there were a bunch of outlets that were spreading salacious things, and they weren't 100% accurate, and sometimes they were completely fake. Everybody thought that was crazy, but the thing is that there was some truth to that. Fake news does exist. However, it's all usually clouded in this word that we call bias. So if we look at bias, bias is prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another. So you're just taking two different groups and you're comparing them. Usually it's in a way that's considered to be unfair. So when you take this bias, everyone has a certain degree of bias just because it is human nature. Like, for example, I have friends. I trust my friends. So sometimes my friends aren't right. The reality is I have to go ahead and look at that, and I need to consider that they may be wrong. And so if they're saying something that is contrary to what another person is saying, it requires me to leave my bias at the door and start really looking at the facts. And basically, when we look at news, when we look at websites, and when we look at other things that are digital in regards to maybe social media, leave our bias at the door. So that's bias, and we need to minimize that. Another thing that we need to do is we need to start fact checking. So we want to make sure that we fact check everything before we post it, before we tweet it, before we repost, retweet. We need to do some fact checking. First of all, when we're looking at political stuff, political ads, they're very sensational. They want you to buy into what they're selling, and in this case they're selling a candidate. So they want you to see all the good in their candidate and all the bad in their competitor. So make sure that we check that. There are a few sites for that. One of them is factcheck.org. This is a great site in that it does give you guys a lot of ability to see what is being said. It really checks this out and gives you some ways to make sure that everything is on the up and up. So factcheck.org. Another site that's great is politifact.com. Politifact.com gives you the opportunity to basically look and see what has been said, and you can check that, and it gives you some other cool tools. OpenSecrets.com is a neat site. There's a lot of things that are political in nature. So if you're interested in politics, or even if you're not, but then you also want to find out what is going on and you hear your friends talking about it, or you hear it on the news and you want to see, like, is this accurate? You can check one of these sites. This one does have a lot of political stuff on it, but it also has a lot of things that you might see on social media that tend to be sensational in nature, and you want to fact check those. You can do a search and find out if a story is accurate, whether you saw it on Facebook, whether you saw it on Twitter, whether you've seen it just kind of drifting out there, and you want to make sure it's accurate. Snopes is a great site. A lot of people tend to think that these sites have a bias to them, and a lot of them don't, because I've noticed as you look through them, you see that there are if we're talking about Democrat versus Republican, you see a lot of things that fact check Democrats and a lot of things that also fact check Republicans. So I see less of the bias in these sites because these people are getting paid to tell the truth. So you actually have these fact checkers that work for these sites, and they're actually getting paid to get to the bottom of things. So you don't have to spend hours trying to research a news article because somebody's getting paid to do that. So that's what I would recommend, going to one of those sites. Another thing, take a minute and look at social media. Social media is awesome, but it does provide the perfect environment to hype up a story, to sometimes make you buy in to something that's not accurate. So it's important for you guys to First of all, if it's on Twitter, make sure that the story that you're buying into is from a verified account. It's not just a fake account. That also applies to Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, because all of those sites are prone to having people create fake accounts. And make sure that the person that is representing the information is, first of all, a real person, and second of all, that real person has a verified account. So in Twitter, it's easy to do because of the check mark, and as well as in Instagram. With Snapchat and Facebook, all of these are very prone to having fake accounts created and people kind of wreaking havoc just under an assumed name. So first of all, never do that. Second of all, make sure that whatever you're buying into is somebody that is verified and somebody that's trustworthy. The next thing is that you can also fact check social media with these articles. You can put them through one of these search engines that we just put out there, that you can look at if it's a political fact. If it isn't political, go to Snopes. Try and find out what are some of these things really saying, and if this is sensational, sometimes it's too good to be true. It probably is. So we need to double check that. So I hope this was helpful. You guys have a great day, and as always, it's a great day to be a hawk. Bye.